And good evening, welcome back to Fite Sports Uncovered, where we unpack all of your punchy kicky action right here, exclusive to Love World Sat. With me, your host, Mark Jubin. Thanks so much for joining us, our second show of the year of 2020. And as usual, our Thursday show is always a build-up to what's coming in the weekend ahead. On tonight's show, proudly brought to you by Bare Knuckle. We're going to be talking a whole bunch of MMA. Yes, it's One Championship Warriors Code out of Jakarta. We've also got UFC 247, that big light heavyweight title fight between John Jones and Dominic Reyes. And then there's a whole lot of boxing. Yeah, we're talking international boxing. It's Brook versus DeLuca. Kell Brook giving his comeback fight. We've also got a South African in action, Kevin Lerena up against Arslan to defend his IBO title. And then it's the other big one. It's Gary Russell Jr. against Tugstot Nyambayar. Big triple header fight that. But before we get into all of that big punchy kicky action, let me introduce you to the guest sitting to my right. He's not really sort of much of a secret. He's been on the show before. I'd like to welcome him back. He is a EFC referee and the owner of Wiekus Swart Grappling Academy. Wiekus Swart, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So we're sitting here in your garden in front of the gym.
Yep.
It's awesome to be here, Wiekus Swart Grappling Academy. Tell me all about the gym. I know it's been a while in the making, but here we are.
Yes. My goal, was always to, or my dream, should I say, was always to have my own gym on my own property. And it's been a long time coming. I think it's 15 years or something. You know, I've moved from gym to gym to gym. I think this is the fourth move. And it kind of happened all in one go. One day I came home a bit depressed. My wife said, what can we do? How can we fix it? And I said, I want my gym at home. And we opened up the computer and started searching for houses. And pretty much 4 months later, we were here. And then, we built the gym at the back. And my dream was always to have the family vibe gym, where no matter what your goal is, we can help you. You know, my goal was never to make the UFC champion or that kind of thing. I was always wanted to help the regular person get fit or learn a bit of self-defense or just learn a skill, jiu-jitsu, learn something that he could keep for himself.
And that's your primary focus, the ground game?
Yes, my primary focus is the Brazilian jiu-jitsu. We do teach MMA and the stand-up, but our primary goal is to get you acquired in the skill of jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
So you have got quite a bit of a track record when it comes to local MMA champions. You've trained 2 local champions on the EFC roster, and one of your current fighters at the moment, Roderick Kenner.
That's correct, yeah. So Zulu Boy trained with me. I did his jiu-jitsu. And then Liam Cleland, who won the middleweight belt, he also did his jiu-jitsu with me. Roderick Kenner is fighting at the EFC. He should be fighting in March. We're not quite sure if it's going to happen yet, but it looks like 90%. And hopefully he can showcase some of our ground.
Well, there you go, Wiekus Swart Grappling Academy right here in Johannesburg. So if you are in the area, you're looking for a place to come and maybe just wrestle out your frustrations, or maybe just get squashed. Have you seen the size of this man? Get down, find him. He's on Facebook all over the place. Get a hold of Wiekus Swart and come down. They've got open mats every Saturday morning, 10 o'clock. So maybe we see you this weekend right here at Wiekus Swart Grappling Academy. But now let's get into tonight's show. And one of the big news stories that's broken over the last day or two was the very bizarre story about Relson Gracie being arrested for drug trafficking. Now, as a Gracie, wow, that's just a little bit of a black blotch on the Gracie name.
Huge, eh? And unfortunately, I was one of those that jumped to conclusions. I was like, oh my gosh, you see, hypocrites. Yeah, and then it comes out that it was
Are you one of those guys?
Medicinal use. You know how it is. You see an article like that and you immediately think, they act like this. And then, so unfortunately, I did think he was a drug mule or whatever they call it. But I'm happy to find out that it was. When I saw I think they showed a picture of then I was like, okay, this is no trafficker. This guy's, it's all oils and stuff like that, and made more sense. But yeah.
So that could have been 22 years of Gracie name down the toilet with Relson Gracie, potentially going to jail for 15 years. But thankfully, as Wiekus says, it was all a misunderstanding, and he's been able to prove that it's been for medicinal use. So good on you, Mr. Gracie. Right, looking ahead at some of this weekend's big fight action, we're going to start off Friday night. We've got one championship, and that's Warriors Code out of Jakarta, and a big one for me. And what I like, and you've heard me say it many, many times, what I like about One Championship, you go there for an event and it's not just MMA or it's not just, kickboxing as in Glory. You've got Muay Thai, you've got kickboxing as well as MMA, and Warriors Code is no exception this weekend, because the main headlining event is that inaugural title fight for the Muay Thai Championship. And there we're looking at Pech Morakot Academy. He's going to be up against Detritt Muay Thai. They're going to be fighting it out for that inaugural featherweight title. Really, really exciting. And as a sort of seasoned martial arts practitioner, Wiekus, you must be pretty excited about what One Championship is putting out there.
I love One Championship, and I just love the culture. I just love the vibe. I love the whole martial arts code they have. They're not like UFC where it seems like the drama makes the fights. They're more about the martial arts, and I prefer that, to be honest. I mean, I'm sure everyone does like a bit of drama here and there, but for me, the martial arts is more important, and that's what they're after. They don't care about who hates who and who whatever. They just, the best fighter fights the best fighter, and I like that approach. And to me, that's what makes a good event.
And it's none so more important as we look at Ben Askren. Ben Askren, undefeated in One Championship. You never saw him talk smack at all. All of a sudden, he leaves One Championship. He joins the UFC, and he is bad-mouthing everyone he can possibly find. He's now subsequently retired, and all because of that hip injury. So, classic example of honor, integrity versus smack and badmouth.
It's almost like as he joined, he got given a book. And learn this. This is what you need to survive here. And he was like, oh, badmouth this guy, make fun of this. And it's just bizarre how that happens, And then look what happens. He got knocked out really badly. It's almost like
that flying knee from.
It's almost like karma. It's like you talk bad, this is what happens. It's like, he may have, I'm not saying it, but he could have avoided something like that.
Absolutely. Coming back to that One Championship headline event, yes, as I said, Pech Morakot coming up against Detritt. Very much a battle of Muay Thai styles. Pech Morakot looking to land and really getting close and land those gut-munching knees, while Detritt is wanting to keep it at distance because he's got one heck of a jab and then some serious power in that right. So he's going to be hoping, keep it at distance. Very, very, very big fight in terms of Muay Thai styles coming up this Friday. Moving on to some boxing action, starting off on Saturday night. Kell Brook up against Mark DeLuca. Kell Brook looking to remake a name for himself. If you recall, Kell Brook currently with a 38-2 record, started off with 36 undefeated fight run, then having those 2 losses, then coming back with 2 wins, now looking to sort of quieten all those critics in a comeback against Mark DeLuca. Mark DeLuca, on the other hand, he's coming off a current 3-fight win streak, so that should be a very, very interesting fight, particularly for all of the boxing practitioners, the guys that really like to see pugilism in action. This could be a good one. On the local front, Kevin Lerena, he's looking to defend his IBO cruiserweight title up against Arslan. He's fighting for the first time out of the country, and for a South African to go out of the country, a lot has been said about Kevin Lerena and possibly his inability to maybe make it happen out of the country. Wiekus, looking at Kevin, he's fighting a guy that is literally 7 months away from his 50th birthday. Don't want to take too much away from Kevin and what he's achieved in his career, but I just get the sense that this is a padded fight. This is a padded one for his record.
I've met him before, and he's an awesome bloke. He's a hard worker. I've seen sparring sessions. He really works hard. But I would really love to see him step out of his comfort zone and fight these big names. I don't think he's going to lose this fight. He's really good, and that's what makes it frustrating. Is he is good, so I don't see why he shouldn't be taking this fight. He's in my mind, he's one of the best we have. So yeah, let's hope he does that.
And absolutely, I think there's only one way to prove that you're that good, is when you start taking on these other cruiserweights. Absolutely. Because as we heard on Monday night, not many people put too much faith in the IBO title, and that's the title that Kevin Lerena has. But at the same time, he is a champion. He is a world champion. He's recognized as a world champion, and we need to give him credit for that. But Kevin, if you're listening to this, I know you probably aren't because you're busy getting ready for this weekend's fight. It's about stepping out of your comfort zone. I fully agree with what Wiekus is saying. Get out there. Let's challenge some of those big names. Let's knock some of those boys out. And then you can put all of those naysayers to bed once and for all. So Kevin, I am wearing the South African flag on my sleeve this weekend. Wishing you all the best. You and your coach, Peter Smith. Hopefully you bring back that title and we get you on the show. And we have you talking about the IBO, talking about your career and what's next in store for Kevin Lerena. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more boxing. We've got a massive triple header up for grabs this weekend. And then it's all about UFC. John Jones against Dominic Reyes. Big one this weekend. We'll be back right after this.
Introducing the new, fresh, and exciting Rhapsody of Realities app 3.0. The Messenger Angel Rhapsody of Realities just got a new updated app for reading Rhapsody Daily articles. Enjoy reading and listening to your Rhapsody on the go while taking advantage of these amazing features. Brand new design. Enjoy the new design built to take advantage of the latest technologies to make your app experience awesome. It's simpler and easier to use. With just one click, you have access to the article for the day. It's that easy. Sync notes. Pin down moments of divine inspiration while studying the devotional and sync them to the cloud to be available anywhere, anytime. A new interactive store. Visit the store and get all books by Reverend Dr. Chris Oyakhilome for people of all ages and download them to your library. Store your favorite books in an easy access folder. Enjoy unlimited access when you upgrade to our premium subscription. Gain access to the complete package of Rhapsody of Realities every month. This includes the entire month's devotional on the go with free audio devotional add-ons. Track your reading habits daily with our automated calendar and identify unread days for the devotional. Read further studies right within the app. Download the new Rhapsody mobile app today for free and be inspired anytime and everywhere on the go. Available on the Google Play Store.
Welcome back to Fight Sports Uncovered, proudly brought to you by Bare Knuckle. And if you missed the first segment of the show, you'll know that we're sitting right here at Wiekus Swart Grappling Academy in Johannesburg, talking to EFC referee and owner of Wiekus Swart Grappling Academy, Wiekus Swart. So we've been breaking down what's going to be happening at One Championship. We broke down a couple of boxing fights, including the upcoming IBO Cruiserweight title defense from Kevin Lerena. But also taking place this weekend is that WBC featherweight title bout. That's between Gary Russell Jr. and Tugstot Nyambayar. Russell is looking to put that title on the line against the undefeated Nyambayar. This is a massive triple header boxing night for all you boxing fans, because not only have we got that WBC featherweight title up for grabs, it is also a bantamweight world title co-main event with Rigondeaux up against Libro Solis. That is also going to be a cracker, because Rigondeaux is also looking to make history by becoming a fighter, having won at multiple weight divisions, along with his many gold medals that won out of Olympics. So a massive, massive, massive night. Also on that fight card is Jamie Arboleda. He's up against Jason Velez, and that's in a 12-round WBA super featherweight title eliminator. So like I said, massive, massive fight card coming up for you if you're a boxing fan. But I suppose we have to give a lot more time to the big one. It's UFC 247, John Jones up against Dominic Reyes in that massive, massive title fight. It's for the light heavyweight title. Wiekus, it probably doesn't get much bigger than a light heavyweight fight with John Jones in it, because he's an athlete shrouded in controversy. If it's not incidents to do with him personally, it's to do with his PED, sort of his like for taking a couple of PEDs and always having to sort of luckily just get out of it. Your thoughts on John Jones just as a fighter?
The guy's amazing. It's just it's almost like a yin and yang, where his fighting ability is so good that he has to have some kind of negative thing to kind of balance him out, and that's where his private life comes in. I read somewhere that in 2018 he got tested 42 times. That's how they're watching him. Obviously, because of his past, they literally rock up at his house any time and test him. And the fact that he's come through it is probably a good sign.
It's a good sign, but I think also the fact that there seems to have been a change in WADA procedure, allowing now, what is it called, micropixels, where you can have a little bit of drugs in you, but as long as it's not enough to enhance your performance.
Yeah.
And who is judging whether it's enhancing your performance or not? So that for me is a problem. It's almost like tantamount to saying, listen, you can take drugs, but as long as we can't see that it made you better.
Yes.
So what are we saying? Drugs are allowed.
And that just becomes a snowball, because then eventually they start upping the pick, and eventually it's,
Yeah, picograms suddenly become micrograms, suddenly become what, kilograms?
yeah, eventually everyone's like, looks like the Hulk.
So looking at that event, it's headlined by Dominic Reyes versus John Jones. Dominic Reyes undefeated. John Jones, yes, we know he's lost once in his career, that one no contest as well. Your thoughts on how this goes? Because John Jones has shown his ability to stand and bang. He's shown his ability on the ground. Dominic Reyes loves to finish.
Yeah, I would probably classify John Jones as the most intelligent fighter in the UFC. He just seems to solve every problem. And that's what makes him so dangerous. He's not a one-dimensional fighter where you can expect the same thing. He'll come out there and do something completely different. And so I'm sure he's watched Dominic Reyes, and he's probably already got a game plan. We're probably going to see something different now. And I'm actually excited to see what does he come up with. Dominic Reyes is incredibly good, and probably, I would say, apart from Daniel Cormier, John Jones' toughest opponent.
Absolutely, I think it's probably his toughest opponent to date in the light heavyweight division.
Yeah.
Not to take away from any of the previous fights that he's had, because I think his last two fights have been incredibly tough. I think Dominic Reyes has probably learnt a lot from that last encounter, where literally John Jones was taken the full distance for probably one of the first times in his career. So fantastic headliner. Look, and I suppose it's one of those fights, it's a love-hate fight. If you like John Jones, you're wishing him well. If you hate John Jones, you're behind Dominic Reyes.
Yeah, you want to see him get knocked out or submitted, yeah.
Also on that card is that title fight, Valentina Shevchenko up against Katlyn Chookagian. Chookagian very much the underdog in this fight. I know Shevchenko is one of your favorites. You like watching her battle.
I just love the way she fights. Top, ground, bottom, everything. She's just so good. But this other girl's on a winning streak. So I'm sure she's got a bit of confidence, and when a title fight's on the line, things happen, and one punch, one kick, one slip can go the other way. Yeah,
Chookagian, 2 wins out of her last 2. She's won 2 fights on the row. She's won 5 of her last 6. So she is on a little bit of a high, but I don't know. I just think Shevchenko just has too much of a slick arsenal for the underdog.
She's just so smooth, the way she moves, the way she transitions, the way even in her grappling, everything is just on such a high level. So I think it would take a bit of a miracle, but hey, we've seen more surprising things happen in MMA. So,
coming back to John Jones, also news fairly recently, John Jones saying that depending on what happens at this fight, and obviously he's anticipating a win, he's looking to go up and challenge Stipe Miocic for the heavyweight title. First of all, the fact that he's beaten Daniel Cormier, not once, twice, someone of that caliber who was a double champion at one point. Is that a good move for John Jones?
Again, I think John Jones has the tools to fight at heavyweight, but I think his biggest asset that he has as a light heavyweight is the fact that he's so tall and skilled. And I think at heavyweight, a lot of that's going to be nullified. Miocic is as tall as him and bigger, and a bigger guy. So I'd love to see the test. I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, I don't see him being as dominant in heavyweight as he is in light heavyweight.
Would we possibly see that fight this year? Because I'm just looking back and I'm going, Miocic is just recovering from that eye injury. He's got Francis Ngannou waiting. He's got Rosenstrike waiting, to name but 2. Also looking at some of the other guys there, Curtis Blades, just coming off this last weekend's performance. So you got some big hitters waiting there for Miocic to recover from that eye injury. Surely they're going to get a first crack at the title before John Jones.
I'm sure. And plus Israel also begging to beat up on Jones. So who knows what's going to happen there.
And Israel saying that he'd follow Jones to heavyweight. Where is Israel Adesanya going to put on that weight?
I have no idea.
He's going to have to bulk up badly to get to do a heavyweight bout with John Jones.
Exactly.
Anyway, so John Jones, very much one of those guys that you either love him or you hate him. I can't wait to see this weekend's fight. I think it's going to be great for the UFC. Other fights that I just want to chat to you about looking forward. April is a big one. We're talking Khabib versus Tony Ferguson. Your thoughts on that?
I'm a big Khabib fan. I just love the way he does things. I just love the way he's a no-nonsense approach. And I just love that he's kind of one-dimensional, but he's just so good at it. But Tony Ferguson's such an out-of-the-box fighter. And if you looked at his last 8 opponents, they all look like they were in car accidents, the way he cuts them up. I still think Khabib will win, but I think he's going to be bloodied up. That's my prediction. I think Khabib will still submit him, but I think it's not going to be an easy, straightforward fight for him.
Conor McGregor, the only fighter ever to win a round off Khabib. Do you think Ferguson will go one better, win maybe 2 rounds?
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
I think he's got the tools.
He's incredibly good, and he's unorthodox, and does. I mean, you've seen his training videos. He does very strange things. Yeah. So
the other big fight, March, potentially, I'm going to say may not happen, is Weili up against Joanna Jędrzejczyk for the title. Weili announcing that she was going to finish her camp in China, and that following on the outbreak of the coronavirus. So the big question is that what kind of testing is she going to have to go through just to be able to get out of China to come and fight and defend that belt?
Yeah, and the way they've stopped flights and stuff, yeah, that's looking a bit doubtful, eh?
I mean, this last weekend we had a world title fight postponed due to the coronavirus because many of the ticket holders were coming out of China. So the chances are, in my opinion, I think we're still a long way away from it. But will that fight even take place with this global pandemic now currently facing us?
It just seems to be snowballing more and more. So yeah, that's probably quite doubtful, I reckon. Eh?
In terms of those 4 fights, and here I'm including Conor Cerrone, I'm looking at this weekend's fight, the Weili fight, and then obviously the Khabib title fight. Which of those for you are possibly the most significant for MMA first half of 2020?
Probably the John Jones, because he hasn't fought in a while. Otherwise, now the Conor back, I think everyone wants to see what Khabib does. Because I think everybody, now that how quickly Conor finished Cowboy, they all believe in him again. Because you know how people fickle, so Conor's amazing, then he gets beaten, now Conor's a has-been, then he comes back and smashes Cowboy, and everyone's like, oh, Conor's back. So now everybody wants to see him with Khabib again. So,
is there anyone on that roster that can take Khabib?
Maybe only Tony Ferguson, because Tony fights so well off his back. Tony fights really well off his back, and that's what Khabib's going to do, put him on his back, and that's where he fights really well. So that's the only person I could see potentially upsetting him.
Let's bring it back local. EFC, the amateur circuit here in South Africa has kicked off this last weekend, but the pro circuit, we're still waiting for March. That title fight, it's really the only big fight that's been announced for that EFC card. And here we're talking Garimba putting that title that he just literally won late last year on the line against Lyle Karam. Your thoughts? As a potential ref of that fight.
Yeah, they're both exceptional athletes. Lyle Karam is incredibly strong for his size, and I've heard of people that have rolled with him and trained with him. My only doubt would be his fitness. I don't know if he would be able to keep up with the pace that Garimba brings. Garimba is just a machine. He just keeps that. It's like a machine gun. He just keeps going. And I would love to ref that. That would be amazing. Very exciting fight.
For me, I haven't seen enough of Garimba, particularly at a title level. I mean, that fight against Luke Michael just didn't give us enough to see how he's changed. Remember now, since his last fight, now morphing into UMF, being part and parcel of the DeMart Penna, getting that training, being a dedicated space to himself, so to speak. I didn't get enough time to see how much Garimba has changed. I think the Lyle Karam fight is really going to put his credentials to the test.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that'll be the one where you can say, like, he is the real deal, or didn't get to see enough. Maybe there are holes in his game, because Lyle Karam certainly will test that. He'll bring the striking, he'll bring the grappling, he'll wrestle him, and then we'll be able to see if he's the full package or not.
Well, there you've heard it from EFC referee Wiekus Swart. his thoughts on what's going down this weekend in terms of the punchy-kicky action. Also his thoughts on EFC. I'm sure he's chomping at the bit to get back into that cage, and hopefully he gets the call to ref that headline event at the first EFC event of 2020. Well, that's it for tonight's show. Thanks so much for joining us on Fight Sports Uncovered. You can get us on social media, find us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram, or you can get hold of us. Send us a message on King's Chat. We'd be more than happy to answer it. Give us your questions, give us your thoughts. Our guests are open to answer all of those questions. Let us know what's on your mind with regards to fight sports action. Until Thursday, next Thursday, when we'll be at another local gym, picking the brain of another local, let's call it fight sports athlete, and in this case, celebrity. I can't wait to see you on Monday night when we're back for a total wrap-up of this weekend's punchy-kicky action. We're out, and as always, defend yourselves at all times. See you later.